Meiosis is the cell division for the production of sex cells. This process is very similar to mitosis, but instead of producing two identical cells, it produces two different cells. The sex cells that need to have a specific thing in them in order to pass on to the next generation the right information from DNA. This would be your sperm cells and your egg cells. So why do we need meiosis? It's necessary to cut the number of chromosomes going into the sex cells by half. You don't want a full set of chromosomes in sperm or egg. Why do we need half the chromosomes in gametes? Gametes is another word for sperm and egg. Because at fertilization, the male and female sex cells, when the sperm meets the egg, provide half the chromosomes to the new zygote, which becomes the baby. The zygote is the name for a fertilized egg. So you need half of your DNA from the dad's cell and half the DNA from the mom's cell in order to have a properly functioning zygote. The offspring, as you can see, has genes from both parents. So if we think about this, if meiosis did not happen, if we just had mitosis to form sperm and egg, like the rest of the body cells, each normal body cell or somatic cell has 46 chromosomes in 23 pairs. We saw those in the karyotype from the mitosis presentation. That's the proper number for the cell to function correctly. More or less chromosomes lead to problems or complete cell death. Mitosis keeps that number the same every time a cell divides. So every time a cell divides in mitosis, say it's your heart cell, muscle cell, liver cell, lung cell, every time one of those cells divides, the new cells both still have 46 chromosomes in 23 pairs. Meiosis, however, takes that number of chromosomes down to 23, half of the full set. So when an egg is fertilized by a sperm, the new zygote has 46 chromosomes. Without this, the zygote would get 92 chromosomes, which is way too many, and it would not survive. Sometimes even just one extra chromosome would lead to that fertilized egg not surviving. So what happens when chromosomes don't split correctly? On the left-hand side, you see normal, and obviously this is pared down to just one pair of chromosomes. When things happen normally in meiosis, let's say the yellow chromosome moves over here, the blue goes over here, and then each half of the chromosome splits again. Blue splits into two halves. That's the error. The yellow split into two halves, and each side of the cell gets one half. If the gamete with the extra chromosome gets fertilized, then the offspring won't be normal. In humans, this often occurs with the 21st pair of chromosomes, which produces a child with Down syndrome. If the egg had 2 and the sperm only had 1, you end up with 3. This is a karyotype of someone who has Down syndrome, and you can see down here, there's supposed to be only 2 chromosomes for 21, and this one has 3. This is meiosis without any errors. The parent cell has a chromosome pair. The chromosomes get copied. The first division, which is just like mitosis, splits that chromosome pair into 2 separate places. And then the second division, this is the part that's new to meiosis, produces 4 gamete cells with half the original number. So this chromosome in both sides of the new cell actually splits down the middle, so you get half of this and the other cell gets the other half. So you end up with 4 cells at the end of meiosis instead of 2. The top half of these pictures show mitosis, and then it goes on to the second stage, which is meiosis. The first stage, you can see prophase, metaphase, they're starting to line up in the middle. Anaphase, they're being pulled apart. Telophase is where the cell plate or cleavage furrow would normally appear, but instead these cells go through another set of divisions where it's basically prophase again. Then metaphase, the chromosomes are lining up in the middle again. Anaphase, they're being pulled apart here and here. And then telophase is actually going to make two splits. So you end up in meiosis with 4 gamete cells, 4 sperm cells or 4 egg cells. Meiosis 1 is just like mitosis. And again, you don't need to know all of the vocabulary for all of this, just know the basics. The chromosomes duplicate. The homologous chromosomes, or chromosome pairs, they pair up and exchange. Sometimes they exchange information here, where one chromosome will get part of another one. They line up. The chromosomes get split. Then the cleavage furrow starts to appear but doesn't fully go. Then they split again in prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, and telophase and cytokinesis 2. And this is that same information in diagram form. So your next step is to put these images in the correct order. And again, this type of question will be on your test. Think about, in order to figure out which order it goes in, find the parts that look like mitosis. Then, so you've got one single cell starting to move. Like this would be part of mitosis because it's just one cell. Then find the steps that have 2 cells doing the same thing. That would be in the second phase, meiosis 2. And remember, it still goes in the same order of PMAT, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, telophase. Then for meiosis, that order just gets repeated again.